Have you ever had a moment where your heart suddenly tightened right before doing something you knew wasn't right, or felt an unexpected pull away from a path you were about to take? You may have thought it was just a random feeling, but what if it wasn't? What if that thought was a divine warning? Many of us dismiss these moments as coincidence, stress, or just overthinking. But deep down, something stirs, a voice within that feels too intentional to ignore. That voice could be from the one who created you. Because Allah doesn't only speak through revelation, He speaks through signs, feelings, delays, and the quiet whispers in your soul. This video isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about recognizing the sacred moments when Allah reaches out to guide you, not with thunder or miracles, but with subtle, clear signs. If only you'd stop and listen. 1. Sudden inner alarm. There are moments when a sudden thought enters your mind, unexpected, intense, and often unsettling. It might come as a feeling of unease before doing something questionable, or a sharp pang of guilt when you're about to speak or act in a certain way. These moments can't always be explained logically. They arrive unannounced, cutting through distractions, forcing you to pause and reflect. This inner alarm isn't just random brain activity, it's a spiritual signal meant to protect and guide. Often these thoughts come when you're about to make a decision that could distance you from your values or your faith. You might not even understand why it feels wrong, but something inside you resists. That resistance is important. It's a subtle voice urging you to step back, reconsider, and reconnect with your conscience. Allah has placed within every soul a fitrah, a natural awareness of right and wrong. When this fitrah is awakened by such inner warnings, it's a mercy, not a burden. Ignoring these nudges can slowly silence them over time, but listening strengthens your spiritual sensitivity. These inner alarms are not distractions from life. They are divine interruptions, calling your attention to something far more important than the moment at hand. 2. Divine warnings. Sometimes what feels like a simple hesitation or an unexpected pause in your life is actually a clear warning from Allah. These aren't just psychological reactions or random thoughts. They are deliberate, divine signs meant to steer you away from harm. Allah, in His mercy, doesn't just let you fall into sin or destruction without sending signals. He warns you through your intuition, your experiences, and even through the people around you. You may find yourself about to take a wrong step, a sinful action, a risky relationship, a dishonest decision, and suddenly, something blocks the path. It might be a sudden feeling of discomfort, an unforeseen obstacle, or an event that stops everything. This is not by chance. These divine interferences are meant to protect your heart, your deen, and your future. They're not punishments, they are safeguards sent before the consequences arrive. The more you ignore these warnings, the more spiritually numb you become. But when you begin to recognize that these moments are Allah's way of speaking to you without words, your heart softens and your awareness grows. What appears as a delay or setback could be Allah holding you back from something you don't yet understand, but will one day be grateful for. 3. Everyday signs from Allah. In our daily lives, we often overlook how deeply connected events are to divine wisdom. What may seem like a small coincidence or a random occurrence can actually be a clear sign from Allah. A verse that plays just when you're struggling, a reminder from someone you haven't spoken to in years, or even a cancelled plan. These are not accidental. Allah orchestrates events in ways that are subtle, but deeply purposeful. Sometimes you might face repeated difficulties in a certain path. No matter how hard you try, things don't work out. That closed door might be Allah's way of telling you this isn't for you. Or you may find yourself exposed to reminders of Him everywhere, videos, messages, or random conversations that bring your attention back to faith. These signs come to wake your heart before it drifts too far. Allah's signs are not always grand or miraculous. Often they are hidden in the fabric of everyday life, meant for those who are willing to reflect. The Qur'an encourages us to ponder over the world around us, because in doing so, we begin to see how nothing is random. The more we pay attention, the more we realize Allah is constantly speaking through life itself. 4. Spiritual sensitivity. Spiritual sensitivity is the ability to perceive and respond to the subtle signals Allah places in your life. It's not something that happens overnight, but it develops over time as your heart becomes more connected to your Creator. When your soul is nourished through prayer, remembrance, and sincerity, it begins to recognize signs and warnings more clearly. What others may overlook, you start to feel deeply. A verse hits differently. A moment of silence feels sacred. A single tear during dua feels like a message from Allah. This sensitivity isn't about emotion alone. It's a sign of an awakened heart. A spiritually alert person doesn't just see the surface of things. They reflect, question, and look inward. They understand that the condition of their heart influences how they experience life. The more it's purified, the more it can detect when something is off, even if everything looks fine externally. However, if neglected, the heart can become clouded. Repeated sins, distractions, and heedlessness can dull its ability to feel Allah's presence or recognize His guidance. This is why maintaining spiritual practices isn't just for reward. It sharpens your awareness. A sensitive heart feels Allah's closeness, hears His warnings, and moves with purpose and caution. 5. Qur'anic foundation. The idea that Allah communicates through signs is not just a concept, it's deeply rooted in the Qur'an. In Surah Fussilat, Allah says, "We will show them our signs on the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that this is the truth." 41:53. This verse is a powerful reminder that divine signs are all around us, externally in the world, and internally within our own hearts and thoughts. These signs come in many forms: nature, life events, personal struggles, sudden clarity, and even moments of silence. The Qur'an repeatedly calls on us to reflect, to ponder, and to observe, not just to read the words, but to live them. When Allah says He will show us signs, it means we are constantly surrounded by messages, but it's up to us to recognize them. The Qur'an is not a distant historical text. It is a living guide that interacts with the believer's life. Its verses speak directly to our situations, often in ways that feel uncannily personal. When something in your life aligns with a verse you've just read or heard, that's not coincidence. That's the Qur'an unfolding in real time. Allah's word affirming His presence in your daily journey. 6. Personal accountability. Recognizing the signs from Allah is only the beginning. What matters most is how you respond to them. Every warning, every subtle nudge, places a responsibility on you. Allah, out of His mercy, gives countless chances for reflection and change, but it is ultimately your choice whether you take them seriously or ignore them. Personal accountability means understanding that your actions have consequences and that your spiritual journey is your own to manage. You can't always blame distractions, people, or circumstances. At some point, you must ask yourself, am I willing to change when Allah sends me a sign? Many people feel the warnings, sense the discomfort, hear the reminders, but brush them aside out of convenience or fear of letting go of worldly attachments. But turning away from a divine sign is turning away from guidance itself. Allah doesn't compel belief or obedience. He invites. And when you reject those invitations repeatedly, your heart can harden. That's why accountability is crucial. It keeps your heart in check and your soul awake. Being honest with yourself, admitting when you're slipping, and making the intention to return, these are signs of a heart still alive. Your journey back always begins with owning the moment Allah called you and choosing to answer. Every sign, every whisper in your heart is a gift from Allah, a reminder that He hasn't given up on you. Don't ignore it. Reflect, respond, and return to Him while the door is still open. If this message touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to Inner Deen for more reminders rooted in faith. Let's end with a simple but powerful prayer. Ya Allah, keep my heart awake and close to you. Comment that below if you felt this video was for you. Let's fill the section with light and sincerity.